We can do that in
Great. No, now. I have a lawyer now. No, I have a lawyer now. Do you have a lawyer now?
At a U.S. airport gate, an American Airlines Executive Platinum member has been denied boarding by her captain. What follows is a masterclass in how entitlement collides with the law and loses every single time.
Break it up. Hey, go back. 100%. 100%. That man said, get his ass beat. Great. I'm standing over here. I want you to go deal with that man saying, get my ass beat. Go, then deal with that him. Great. Go. Deal with him.
No, I'm going to deal with him first. Okay? So you can go stand over here so we can talk.
I can go amazing. Come on, Tim.
Stay.
We're gonna walk out.
Go where?
Okay. Sit down.
You actually don't. I'm not assaulting anyone. I'm not doing anything. No. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. Take him.
Sit down. What is going on? I heard you from all the way down there. Did she assault somebody?
When I ran up, she was in the corner. She had her camera in the face of one of them, and they were all grouped together.
Where's your driver's license ID? Charles, we got one detained cuffs.
Where's your ID? Listen, the faster you work with us, the faster we can know what's going on. Because right now, it's completely escalated. Okay? Can you give me your name?
Who'd she hit or touch? What happened?
Those three.
What did you say the captain said? What did you say the captain
How's it going? Yeah, everyone okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Did she hit or touch or
She
somebody?
touched me, her, and her.
So what happened?
She got her screaming once I let her down the jet bridge and just cursed. I said, "Man, we can't do that. Just come up." So the captain ended up coming up for some paperwork.
Okay.
So as I'm on the phone with her at another gate for the paperwork, I said with the captain, "What did you say the captain said?" Mind you, the captain sitting right here said, "Ma'am, you are not getting on my flight."
She chest to chest? Or like,
Chest to chest.
She chest to chest,
Her.
me.
And him.
okay. And like
And
try
she
to push?
Yeah.
She slapped. Yeah, she's like tried to slap me.
Did she actually hit anybody? That's what I'm asking.
She did make contact. Contact was made.
With her phone.
Contact was made.
Okay. Who was the contact made with?
Me, her,
She hit all
Him.
three people with her
and she
phone?
hit him in the corner.
She said,
So the phone
and then she's recording, so I'm just standing here being
recording's not illegal,
and then
but
complete my statement.
But
And
your
then she
phone was a
reaches
weapon.
across and swipes me like to hit me with the phone because she starts screaming directly in my face. And I said, "You're not going to scream at me. You're going to calm down. This is the very behavior that our captain has denied boarding for." At which point she starts slapping at me with the phone and she hit me here.
okay. Are you okay?
I'm
Do I
fine.
need to call paramedics?
No.
Okay. So
No,
so my next question is, are we wanting to press charges for them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because she had
So-
him in the corner. That's why all her stuff is
Okay.
right there on the floor.
So that's basically, just so you understand, it is
Under 49 U.S.C. Section 44902, the pilot in command holds absolute federal authority to deny boarding to any passenger deemed a safety risk. That decision is final, not a customer service dispute you can escalate. Officers arrive to a volatile scene. Terry v. Ohio, 392 U.S. 1, authorizes detention when officers have reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. Multiple assault reports from witnesses satisfy that standard immediately upon arrival. Witnesses report she struck a gate agent with her phone. That physical contact is battery intentional, offensive contact without consent. Under most state statutes, no bruise is required. Offensive contact alone meets the definition. The officer asks whether the staff wants to press charges. For misdemeanors outside his presence, a complaining witness is required. When they confirm, The case becomes a criminal battery investigation, not just a routine removal. The passenger shows textbook intoxication, mood swings, refusing questions, sitting on the floor. Her own admission, 2 full vodka tonics combined with visible impairment, builds solid probable cause for public intoxication charges. She invokes her executive platinum status and 17 years with the airline. That status does not exist in the penal code. The officer does not care about her miles. He cares that she struck a uniformed airline employee with her phone. She pivots to, "I just want to go home." The officer cannot release her. She is visibly intoxicated and the subject of an assault complaint. Releasing her creates legal liability for the department and potential danger for the public. She demands a lawyer loudly and repeatedly, but per McNeil v. Wisconsin, 501 U.S. 170. 1. The Sixth Amendment right to counsel attaches at formal criminal proceedings, not during a detention. These words do not freeze the arrest process. Miranda v. Arizona covers custodial interrogation, not the processing of a lawful arrest. The officer is not interrogating her. He correctly directs her to request counsel at booking. That is precisely how the legal procedure works.
It's a classic assault. It's offensive contact, right? Okay. Absolutely go that route. I'm going to need a bunch of information from you. As far as that goes, that will be basically between you and a judge and her. I think, based on everything I saw, she's probably going to go for PI. That's the thing. If you're okay with just PI, we do that. But if you're wanting to press assault charges, we can go that route.
No, PI is public assault and intoxication.
Yeah.
Well, that's illegal.
Yeah. No, she'll most likely go with us. If that, so I'm asking, are y'all okay with that, or are we wanting to press assault charges on top of that?
Press assault charges on top of it.
So what I'll need. So what did she do to you?
As stated, before they came over, she was doing this to me.
She's poking
You're not
your
doing
finger.
that to me.
Okay.
Step away. So after they came, that's when she started using her phone, tapping people.
She tapped people's
Yeah.
phone. Okay. Where did she tap you?
Right here.
Right in the chest. Okay.
Mhm.
Are you okay? Do you need paramedics?
No, I don't need
Okay.
her.
No, it was Sonia first because she was bombarding.
Okay. So what I need a driver's license ready for me. We'll go through the whole thing, just step from step, so I can put it in my report and everything. Okay. We'll go from.
Did the flight get closed, Jess?
And then, ma'am. So, are we gonna add? Are you wanting to press assault charges as well?
So what all does that entail?
So basically, because that didn't happen in my presence review, it's basically going to be your word against hers. You'll have to go to court for it. You'll have to talk to the judge about it. However, I mean, I think I'm going to do a little bit more investigation with her, but it seems like she can go jail on it for PI. Okay, if we're okay with that, just getting her out of here, absolutely good that route. But if you want to press assault charges, that's that. Going talking to the
No, but I'm
judge.
fine. I don't want to press. I
Yes,
don't.
ma'am. Are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, I'm just.
Okay.
I'm mad.
I totally understand. Totally understand.
You know what I'm
Understand.
saying?
Okay. Then yes, ma'am. If I can get your information. Okay.
Can you tell me your name? Because we need to figure out what's going on. Because do you understand what it looks like when I get here and you're in the corner with all these people and you have a camera in someone's face? Do you know how that looks? You got to give me some answers here. I'm trying to work with you, okay? Yes, I am. I really want to know what's going on.
Go away.
I'm not going anywhere. I have to understand what's going on. You don't want to tell me anything?
Nope.
Okay. I'm really just trying to figure out what's happening.
Fuck.
Hey, sorry, I'm on sick. You say there's another attack on curves or what?
I'm done. This is bullshit.
I don't even know what's going on. That's what I'm trying to figure
You
out.
don't.
Right.
I am not fucking walking my way into this. So you can f off. This is not what you think. I have flown for 30 years. I'm a high school graduate and I've worked my way out of the darkest point that anyone could ever imagine. And even off. I hate this whole just. I hate this.
Do you fly for business? Are you flying?
Yep.
Okay.
And I am not talking.
Okay. I'm really just trying to figure out.
God.
Okay.
I've flown with American for 15 years. I'm anything like this, but I'm not. It's crazy.
You're still harassing them.
I'm done. I hate this.
I don't know what's going on. That's
I don't care. I just don't care. I want to go home.
okay. Where's home?
I was supposed to go to Colombia. I'm going to miss a business trip. This is not good.
Okay. So you live.
But I assure you, I wasn't doing anything to screw any of the fucking travel agents. They're the best people ever.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
This is so dumb.
So are you traveling by yourself or with someone?
No, I was traveling with you. They're gone. It's fine. I'm done. I literally have never had anything like this happen.
Okay.
This is so dumb. I hate Americans so much. It's been.
Why didn't you get on the plane?
I tried to get on the plane. They wouldn't let me on the plane. I tried to get on the plane. And they're going to tell you they would let me on the plane because the captain would let me. I will tell you, I've flown this airline for 17 years.
Okay.
It's not, and this is, being handcuffed is the most traumatic thing I've ever had in my whole life, and I just want to go home. Please let me.
Okay, I'm sorry, but we had to do that because when I walked into it,
I totally get it. Please just let me go home.
Okay.
I don't care.
I can't let you go home until I figure out what's going on. But I appreciate you telling me more information because that's really helping me. Okay, so it'll be a
I don't
lot.
care. I'm supposed to be in Colombia for a business trip, and I'm actually I've been flying for 14 years.
Okay.
And I've never had a single encounter, and I don't know how this happened, and I'm so sad. And
Okay.
I just, please let me go home.
Okay. Why
I'm
can't
not
you do
as
that?
drunk as you think I am. I am just super traumatized that I am handcuffed.
Okay. How much did you have to drink?
I had 2 drinks.
Okay.
Full drinks, very full drinks,
Okay.
but not any more than I normally drink when I travel.
Okay.
I've done this a million times.
Okay. What kind of drinks were they?
They were vodka tonics.
Okay.
The same things I always have.
Okay.
I swear. I cannot overstate.
Okay.
I'm not innocent, but Jesus.
So do you think they didn't let you on because you were...
No, they didn't let me on because I got on at the wrong time. I got on late. My wrists hurt so bad.
Okay, well,
I'm
we just
usually
gotta
on
put
so
okay?
early, and they were just being.
So it was final boarding, and that's when you were...
And I was trying to make a joke about my Indian friends, and they were with me, and they're all Indian, and I just think, I just.
So when they didn't let you on, you started recording them?
I didn't record. I mean, I recorded something. I don't even know where to record. I wasn't trying to record to be an ass. I just.
Do you understand why it escalated to this?
No, I don't. Actually, I don't. I actually don't. It doesn't mean that I won't do something different next, but I don't actually understand.
Okay. Would you like me to explain why?
No, I don't. I just want to go home.
Okay. Can you tell me what bar you drank those 2 vodka tonics at?
Yes. The one in this club.
In this terminal here?
Yes.
Okay. Was it a sports bar that served food, or was it a...
I don't know. I don't. I've honestly never been in a situation handcuffed before, and so the name of the bar that I was at an airport is super far off
Okay.
from the thing that I'm thinking about.
Okay. Did your friends get on this flight or a flight before?
They're already gone.
Okay. Were they on this flight with you?
Yes, they're gone. Good for them.
Okay.
It's not friends, it's coworkers.
Co-workers. Okay. Did you all walk up together and they just
No.
let you on? Okay.
No.
Okay. Just trying to...
And even if they did, I would still say no. I'm being super honest.
Okay.
Why would I say, yeah, they totally escorted with me? Like, why would I say that?
I'm trying to figure out why you weren't let on. That's the whole
I'm
thing.
not actually sure either.
Right. Okay. So
I'm
that's what
actually
I'm trying
more
to figure out.
disrupted right now than I've ever been.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
It's a little bit pointless. My colleagues have left for an entirely different country. I'm definitely not completely sober, but I'm not.
I appreciate you being honest about that because it is helping.
I've never been an asshole. Ever.
Being international. If you got more than 2 items, just consolidate. The whole time she just, are you serious? I'm like, what in the world? But I said, okay, just go. So she scans on, goes to the door, then she just started yelling. F this, F that. I said, ma'am.
So she walked
Yeah.
down here? Okay.
Ma'am.
And she had already scanned?
Yeah,
in? Okay.
she had did the biometrics. I said, ma'am, we can't have that language. What's going on? Are you fucking kidding me? I said, okay. Just come out, talk to a manager. So I called for the manager. She called me on the phone and said she'll be down. At that time, the captain comes up because he didn't have all his paperwork for the international. So I called the manager back. I said, hey, the captain needs his paperwork. He only got 2. He needs 3 more. What did you say the captain said? What did you say the captain said? So the captain's sitting right there. And she's like, what did you captain say? Mind you, I'm speaking about the captain needs his paperwork. So at that point, the captain talked to her. You're not going on the flight. This is why you're not. Get out of my face. You will not be talking to my flight attendants like that. If they're up here talking like this, you will not be talking to them like that. So at that point, the captain said she's not going to get up. So I had to wait for the other supervisors to come. At that time, the captain goes down. She's doing what she's doing now. I'm on the phone calling police, and she's like, I can hear it. Is that her in the background? I said, yes. So she's like, you're going to get this. You're going to get this. So that's what she's doing.
I'm so sorry.
When did you start pulling your phone out to record? As soon as they said you could?
I don't know when my phone recording is an issue unless you have an issue. So I don't think my recording and you and I have a conversation. If you want to let me off and I let you off, we're good. Otherwise, f*** off. My plane has already left. Off.
Okay.
Either arrest me now, detain me.
You are detained.
Great.
That's why you're in
Then give me
So
a
sit
detain.
down.
And then I would like to contact my lawyer.
Okay, you can
Great.
contact them.
Then let's contact my lawyer.
Okay.
Then let's do that now because I'm done. I am trying to be nice and now I'm done.
Appreciate it.
So let's call my lawyer.
Okay, we can do that in a
Great. No, now. I have a lawyer now. No, I have a lawyer now. Do I have a lawyer now?
Do not move.
Do I have a lawyer now?
Do not move.
Do I have a lawyer now? Do I have a legal right to lawyer now? Then
Detained right now.
do I have a legal lawyer to desire now, or yes or no?
No, you're being detained right now.
I do not have an option to a lawyer right now. You're telling me I do not.
That's correct.
So I do not have an option to a lawyer right now.
You're not under arrest. Not
Then I get to go on my own.
You are being detained.
Stop.
So I'm being detained. Then I want a lawyer.
Are we good as far as the PI? Okay. You're under arrest for PI.
Okay, now you're under arrest.
Stand up.
Is this your stuff?
Oh,
What did I do exactly?
You're under arrest for public intoxication.
Yeah, I just want to attach to the vehicle or call for it.
All right, let's go.
Stop.
Nope.
No, I have a lawyer. I have an option to get a lawyer.
If you fight
I have
us,
an option to get a lawyer.
when you get to the jail, you can discuss that with them. If you fight us, you get another charge, and you don't get out in 4 hours. Do you understand that? Do you understand? Okay.
You piece of shit. Then I'll sit down and I'll not get detained. So now I just get. Great. Then stop, and then I get to call someone now. Get off of my f***ing cuffs. What did I do? Stop.
All right.
Stop.
We're trying to go through this.
I have a recording. You pieces of mediocre shit of your life. You make yourself feel good making 60 grand a year. You fucking tiny piece of shit. You feel good fucking your wife with your fucking 5-inch dick. You can take me.
Are you done yet?
Yeah. Stand up.
Okay, stand up.
Nope.
Let me get a wheelchair. That's fine. She can stay in. She pissed herself? Yep, she did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yep, I can smell it.
That's probably your fucking wife's fucking the guy that fucked her before he fucked you. You feel good about yourself? You fucking 6'5'8" fucking dick stack fucking short tiny ass dick. You go home and your girlfriend that because you wear a uniform makes you feel good about yourself? You and your fucking facial hair?
Yeah, actually, well, it's my chance.
I don't want to get urine on my leather pair.
It would be so much worse than the shit that you freak out on your wife on. I want to call my lawyer.
That's fine.
Now.
Relax.
No, now. No. No. I'm not fighting you that bad, you pussy.
Yeah, if you can just go get leg restraints, he's fighting us so bad that.
Yeah, I'm fighting.
So bad.
Yeah, I'm fighting.
We're gonna have to
I'm
carry it
fighting so hard. Your fucking pussy of a partner is fighting so hard. Don't touch my hand. Don't touch my hand. And you have a visual on.
Yep, my body cam is recording.
It is, and I am so happy about it. I need a lawyer.
Okay,
Or you
that's
guys
fine.
are done.
Okay.
This is it.
All right.
This is it.
Okay.
I'm calling my lawyer. Give me a person to talk to. I have been without an hour of anybody. I'm an American Executive Platinum person. This is not a normal fucking situation.
Yep.
How am I acting right now? How am I acting?
It doesn't matter. It's how you were acting before. How we ended up on the ground.
You know what? How I was acting before is so subjective. I'm not acting much right now, am I? Do not touch my feet. Do not stop. No, 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 no. You're God. No, no. Sorry. Sorry. And also you're a fucking limp.
Stop, lady! Jesus!
I'm not doing anything.
Yes, you are!
No, I'm not. I'm literally laying down the way that you want. What's the problem, buddy? Don't you have two people on one? What is the issue? You are trying to detain someone who is unwilling to be detained. How is that fair?
Wheelchair. We want to just carry her out.
Yeah.
She goes dead weight, refusing to stand or walk. Officers apply leg restraints. Under Graham v. Connor, 490 U.S. 386, force is judged by reasonableness. Verbal commands, physical escort, then restraints. A proportionate escalation. She hurls personal insults at the officers, mocking their salaries and personal lives. Under the First Amendment, this speech is generally protected. But here it functions as evidence. Total loss of inhibition is a key indicator of intoxication. She urinates on the airport floor. Loss of bladder control is a recognized sign of extreme impairment. Combined with her own admission, her erratic behavior, and multiple witness accounts, the public intoxication charge is now airtight. The officer documents the full evidence stack. Witness statements, body cam, bystander video, physical evidence. Convictions are won on the totality: the phone strike, refusal to identify, resistance, urination, and the recorded insults.
We're gonna have to carry her out. There's no way she's sitting in a wheelchair. Is that size good?
Where do you want to? Yeah, we can get them. What do you want to uncover them?
You guys are the literal fucking worst.
What about this right here?
That I don't know.
Can y'all hold her a
You're
second?
on my fucking arm. Get off my arm.
I'm going to see if you guys want to go through one of the fire extinguishers.
God. Are you willing to walk now? Yes! I've been willing to walk the whole time! Yes, I have!
Wait.
Hold on, that might be part of the problem.
Walk slowly. Wait. Take your left foot out. Take your left foot out. Okay. Right foot. Thank you. We're gonna walk. Okay? When I say that's I assure you, I'm not trying to make
Charles Ford, 42. Did y'all make it to the public side yet?
Yeah, we're at the car.
Can we just go to the police people then? No, I would like to go to the police
Sorry,
people.
you are with the police people.
No, then I'd like to go to these
stop.
ones. No!
Stop. We have to search you.
You're not helping at all.
We have to search you before we put you in our car. The more you
So I get
resist,
arrested?
you are arrested. You are under
I have not done anything wrong!
You're under arrest.
I haven't done anything wrong! No, I haven't done anything! And I'm being because I'm so scared. Because I've not done anything wrong, please.
Do you have anything hidden anywhere?
No, Jesus! Can I just go home, please? This is so crazy. I've missed a business trip. This is insane. I haven't done anything wrong, and I have literally just said I'll
She's
do
clear
whatever
over here,
you
Garcia.
want. This is
What's
so
that? She's clear over here. Okay.
dumb.
You got this bucket too?
Yeah.
Charles Ford, you can just
Standing on my foot. I think that's intentional.
Did you check your leg over?
I think you're standing on my foot.
Morphine. Okay. All right, let's go walk this way.
It hurts so bad. Please.
Great. Thanks. Grab my keys.
Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. Can I touch speaker here?
You got a breath?
I'm covered in urine. Yeah, I sprayed it. So, but so after everything just happened, okay. So she's not only going for the PI. Okay.
Oh, so she touched one of y'all too.
Well, she's going for resistance. Are we
So in your
okay?
experience, would you say me pressing charges would do something, or just
It's
y'all handle it?
with this happening, no, and it's not going to do much more.
Okay.
I'm not trying to talk you out of it.
No, you're
but it'll save you a whole lot of time considering everything that's already happened. So she's going.
So meaning I'll have to get days off, go to court, do the.
Yes,
oh yeah, I
ma'am.
can.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that's what I was trying to explain earlier. Like with simple assault, that's basically how it is because, I mean, it does help that there were witnesses.
Consequences extend far beyond the courtroom. Under 49 U.S.C. Section 46504, interfering with crew members carries FAA civil penalties of tens of thousands of dollars. Airlines will blacklist her. The platinum status is permanently revoked. Her mockery of officers' salaries captured on Bodycam will be played in court. It strips away any remaining sympathy and reveals a character flaw that no "I had too much to drink" defense can cover in front of a judge or jury. The two-lane rule. Lane 1 is administrative compliance, follow lawful orders on the scene. Lane 2 is litigation challenge, the arrest in court, months later, with a lawyer. She merged both lanes on the jet bridge. That never works. Every charge was self-inflicted. Refusing to leave bought the handcuffs. Fighting restraints bought the resisting charge. Screaming abuse provided audio-visual evidence of intoxication. Demanding a lawyer during detention only deepened her exposure. 3 charges: public intoxication, resisting arrest, and simple assault. A ruined business trip to Colombia. A probable lifetime airline ban. A permanent digital record of urinating on an airport floor while screaming at officers. The lesson. Status is not a shield. Alcohol is not an excuse. An airport is a federal environment. Your right to travel is conditional on your conduct. Follow lawful orders on the scene. Dispute them in court. That is how the law works.
For sure, it'll help, but you're still gonna have to go to court. And you're still gonna have to argue that your side. She's gonna have to argue her side. It's a whole thing. I'm not talking to please don't think that.
No.
Because if you change your mind, if you absolutely change your mind, here's my card. You give me a call.
Okay.
We can. That's not.
Is there anything that my other employees need to know?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
She's just her.
Okay.
So, I was asking, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so sorry this happened. something.
Well,
For
we're
sure.
glad y'all are here.
Yeah, we're appreciative.
So I'm gonna go take a bath.